Welcome back to 21 Minute Reads with me, Maya D. In these 5-minute videos, I share with you my 3 takeaways from my current reading, which right now is The Black Dancing Body by Brenda Dixon Gottschalk. As a part of the Read 21 and 21 challenge, I'm reading 21 minutes per day as an act of mindfulness, as an act of self-love, as a way of providing myself with some consistency in an ever-changing world. This week, I read pages, looking at my notes, 145 through 170, and here are my 3 takeaways. But wait, before I give you those 3 takeaways, remember that I'm not the know-all be-all for this book. I'm just sharing what stood out to me and the thoughts that came to mind. Ideally, you're going to share some thoughts down there in the comments so that we can continue to have virtual community that allows all of us to grow into better people. Yeah? Takeaway number 1. Say her name. Brought to Europe from South Africa, Sarah Bartman's native tongue included clicks, hence the term Hottentot, whose Dutch etymology lies in words like stammer and clicking. Stammering and stuttering. So I knew that Bartman was on display for about 5 years until her death in 1815. I knew that her labia was on display, but I didn't know that her labia was on display until 1982, and that her remains were not sent back to South Africa until 2001. Sarah Bartman, the Venus Hottentot. Say her name lest we forget the atrocities that were afflicted upon her body, leaving future generations subject to the same atrocities. This takes me into takeaway number 2. Assets. Your valuables. Her valuables. While on display, Bartman had no agency as it related to her buttocks. She was poked, she was prodded, she was ogled. Under this gaze, she was deemed as a part, an object, not viewed as a whole person. Her bottom was seen as other, as unnatural, as uncivilized, as improper, which becomes particularly ironic when you think about the era in which this was. This was the Victorian era. This was the same era that the bustle becomes an accoutrement, like the thing. You need a bustle, right, for female attire. BDG, Brenda Dixon Gottschalk, identifies this as yet another example of that appropriation, approximation, assimilation, where the object is seen as ideal, but the body from whence that object comes from is ignored or forgotten. Which takes me into my final takeaway number 3, odes to the Bootie-ful. So Brenda Dixon Gottschalk identifies 4 songs: Brick House, The Butt, Baby Got Back, and a thong song. Now, given that these songs are still written through the male gaze, right, they are still examples of, as BDG puts it, where the buttocks is the agent versus the victim. So BDG notes that in these songs, the body of the black woman becomes the icon. It becomes the, that thing, like, it's amazing, right? So while everything has flaws, the beauty in these songs for me is that in these 4 songs, they're rapping, they're rhyming, they're literally singing from the rafters the praises of the natural black woman's body. So in these songs, in these situations, I am not being judged by someone else's values of beauty, right? Rather, I am just able to be me and recognize me as me, right? Yeah, that's all I got for this week. So what are your thoughts? Remember to like, remember to subscribe, remember to turn on those alerts so that you see when I post the videos, and drop some comments down in there. And if you have another book that I like, I need another book to read because I'm almost done. So if you got another book suggestion, please do so. And other than that, be amazing.